do not tell lies. It's not worth it. Get a boss that will listen to you. Be yourself and tell it like it is. If they don't like you that way, well, say, I'm just trying to be honest. I don't want to put myself overqualified for what I'm not.
Right.
Just I want a job. Maybe I need this. I need a chance. If out there somebody could help their son or could help their nephew, help them. But not just by talking, really help them. Don't say, well, do like me. No. Give somebody a chance is the best way, I guess.
Some great advice, Richard. And by the way, I have to ask, was the case of the boss who laid someone off for having an artificial leg, was that you?
No, the boss, yeah, it was me. The boss that also was very, those days, I used to be like a plant manager, if you wanted, at night.
Yeah.
And what happened is that I went through a different department to get there.
Yeah.
And I did, it didn't take me that long, about a month and a half, to learn all these departments like Toastas.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I was told after a while that I got an artificial leg, I have to let you go. Our insurance don't cover for that. I said, what? I think I was joking. I worked hard my ass off, and I was told that. This is hard. There's other stories, but it's just I can continue in life. I stopped for a while looking for jobs because I was really down, really depressed, really stressful, but it's just like somewhere out there, I guess somebody just encouraged me. You could do it, you can do it, and you have to stand up, you have to talk to yourself, not to depend on anybody. Just put your faith in God and move forward. And if somebody out there, like I keep saying, I'll say it again, if you want to give somebody a chance, do it. I'm sure God will.
The tough part, however, if you've been laid off, is deciding whether you want to continue doing what you were doing before in the first place. A certain amount of self-examination required. And whenever there's self-examination, boy, you need a lot of support. Hence the 3 F's, friends, family, and faith. We are talking about bouncing back from job loss. The number is 728-1001. Call us with your story about being laid off and how you came back from it. Or if you have any questions for our experts tonight, then give us a call and we will answer. The number is 728-1001. Our guests, of course, are Anita Caputo of the Big Picture Institute and Lee Wallace of Ascendo Consulting. We were talking with Richard as we went to break, and he very much emphasized being able to fall back on friends and family and that support system. And he exhorted us to be that support system for somebody else who was in that position. Words of advice that are difficult to argue with. But assuming you got the support, assuming you decided to take the time to find out where you're going, let's get into the brass tacks. Here you are, you've got maybe, you've been laid off, maybe you got severance, you can take some time. What do you do next?
Well, you have to find a way of getting that job that you really want to get. So assuming you know what that is, then how do you get to speak to the people who potentially could hire you, or at least introduce you to the person who can hire you?
Right.
And this is where you can use all kinds of creativity. The simple answer is you have to network, okay? But, people ask then, how do you network? And there's all kinds of ways you can network. One person created a project, and they said, okay, if I want to be able to speak to all the vice president of sales, right, then maybe what I'll do is create some type of a survey and create some type of a research study and ask if these people would participate in the research study. So it gives you a reason to go in and speak with these people. That's just one idea. And of course you can just hold what we call information meetings. You can just call someone up and just, I can interview you. And I could say, James, if I wanted to pursue a career like yours, what would I have to do?
I have actually been part of probably 100 of those interviews, maybe more than that. And for people out there maybe who are a little bit shy about calling somebody up and saying, can you give me a few words of advice? As you point out in your book, most people are very happy to talk about what they do. And if I had a nickel for everybody who called me and said, can I have 10 minutes of your time? And we ended up talking for an hour, and it's not because they were nailing me in my chair, but basically I was just probably blabbing and boring their head off because I was talking about something I was passionate about. But how important is the networking part?
Networking is absolutely essential. It's the one thing that, if we had to pick one thing that all of the people we interviewed talked about, it was networking. And networking is not necessarily something they enjoyed doing, and a lot of people don't. They're introverted, they're shy, whatever. They feel like they're begging or imposing on somebody else.
Or wheedling.
Yes, exactly. They put themselves in an inferior position, whereas you just said that you're happy to do that. Not, I mean, you only have so much time you can do, but you've been happy to do that and even give people more than they asked for. And most people are like that.
It's well you should mention, though, that people don't like, or many people don't like networking, because we hear the word over and over and over again. It's become part of the language, become one of the buzzwords of the job world. And what you practically never hear someone say is, I'm uncomfortable with networking because it seems like I'm looking for something, it seems like I'm after something. You are. It's schmoozing is one of those words that people have devised to come up with an epithet describing networking.
Negatively.
Yeah, it is. I think a lot of people do think it's negative because they feel like they're going to somebody hat in hand, or alternatively, they feel like they're not being totally honest. We're Canadians, you know. If we figure if we're going to approach somebody, it better be with open hands, and you know, I want nothing from you, and you want nothing from me. We're just friends.
Right.
But the question I ask people is, if somebody they knew had come to them and said, "Can you give me some of your time to give me advice and information?" Would you say yes?
Sure.
Of course they would.
Yeah.
So they need to remember that when it's their turn to ask. So there are two parts of the networking, and Richard touched on part of it. Part of it is not only having to go out and network for yourself, it's being there for somebody else who needs to do the networking. Right. So in terms of people looking for work, don't be shy. Tell everybody you're looking for work. Don't hide it. Don't be ashamed of it. It's not like this is new around here and like you're the only one. As you said at the beginning, everybody in Ottawa has either been laid off or knows somebody who has.
Right.
This is not a shame thing. It happened to tons of extremely qualified people. So go out, let everybody know, because we keep running into stories of strange stories of how people connected with somebody else who connected with somebody else who ended up helping them get a job.
So what's wrong with just watching the advertisements for open positions and replying to them?
Oh, well, you could do that, but statistics tell you that that is the least likely place that you're going to get a job. What we always tell people, you can spend all your time on the internet looking for work, but in reality, work will come from people.
Right.
People will lead you to jobs, and people will give you jobs. And then, sorry, the other comment I just wanted to make is, and it kind of goes back to what Richard said, and that is, be yourself.
Yeah.
And in being
the flavor of ice cream is 15 minutes later they'll still be thinking about it. How do you find out what you want to do?
Okay, so let's use your ice cream example.
Yeah.
So if you ask them what their favorite flavor is, you're right, I'd probably hum and haw too. But if you put me here in front of the showcase and I had a choice of these, I don't know, 15 flavors of ice cream, and I had 1 minute to choose the one that I'm going to eat,
right,
I'll know which one I'm going to check.
And some of the stores cottoned into that and say, okay, how do I know if I'm going to like it? Well, I'll try it on. That's why volunteering is a way to do it. It's like going shopping. If you're going to go buy electronic equipment or a new set of clothes, you want to hear the electronic equipment or play with it in some way. If you are thinking about buying clothes, you're not going to buy it without trying it on. So that there's an element of being able to try it on in some way, even if it's just by talking to people who already work there. So you can get a feel for what it's like to actually work in that kind of work, in that particular company, in that particular job. What's the culture like? What's it like to work? People can be real sources of information, not just about where the job is and who to talk to. If you're looking at making any kind of a change, you need to find out where there is work that suits what you're looking for. So it's a process of exploring and trying on where you can.
And in the most
but you can also taste it.
Setting deadlines. Should you say, okay, by April the 1st, I'm going to know just what pragmatic terms, how long should you be exploring? Should you be saying, a fool I want to be for the next stage? Or is it open-ended? What do you do?
It's helpful. It's helpful to set a goal, and that's what we're talking about, is setting a goal. But on the other hand, you have to be realistic. And you know, depending on the market, we had a very difficult market, and most people during those years, and 2000 to 2005, some people were taking 6 months, 12 months, and even longer to find that next job. So it really, really depends. But you should have a goal, because when you have a goal and you reinforce that goal in your mind and you put all of your energy behind that goal that you want to achieve, you will achieve it.
Well, that